Well, good morning, and what a morning it's been. We're experiencing the tail end of, I think it's called Storm Alley. Now, I do know that we're not getting it like up north. They've had some terrible weather, but it is still driving rain, quite cold. The cold we could have dealt with, but the rain not. Due to have the windows fitted today, sorry, not the windows, the fans fitted today in the roof, one at the back, one at the front. That's not going to happen now, mainly because due to the weather, and there were some other factors that I couldn't get around. So that is now going to be Tuesday. We're having those done on Tuesday. So these are the fans. Yeah. Don't know if you can see those. They're from Thule, and there's two of them. We've gone for the clear crystal ones, which are nice. I've had them all apart in to make sure really that I knew how it all goes together. I didn't want to cut a hole and then find out that I was then on a learning experience. So yesterday I cut a 400 by 400 hole in a bit of ply and measured everything up and make sure it all fits. And it works all right. Unfortunately, I forgot to film that part, but we'll do a bit of the filming and the cutting out and things. The other thing that's arrived, bit of a shout out for these people actually, is the gas inlet, and then I've got the gas bottle. Got me. Put it away. This is the gas bottle that's going in. It's from Gassit, a Welsh company. That's going to go into the locker that you've probably seen in previous videos. And then the fill point is going to be in locker, so I don't have to drill extra holes to the outside. I'm just working on the basis. The less holes I have in the build, the better. There are going to be some. Talking about holes in the van, I watched Greg Virgo's video about his Thule heater, or his combi boiler, and funnily enough, mine has arrived today. It was delivered this morning. But during Greg's video, he mentioned that the exhaust needed to be on the side of the vehicle, and I had always planned to have it coming out on the floor. Now, apparently, I did contact Greg, and he was kind enough to give me the answer on that. But apparently they used to be able to put them through the floor, but now they have to go through the side for whatever reason. I'm not going to argue, it is what it is. So that's going to be done, which means that as you're looking into the back of the van, on the right-hand side, that bottom panel is going to come off, take away some of the insulation, drill the hole, get the exhaust and air intake through, and then put the panel back on. Not a bother, not really. It is what it is, and we'll get that sorted. So that's hopefully all going to be done this week. This and next week, sorry. So the Thule in, the Thule fans in, the Truma heater. Did I say Thule heater or less? Truma heater, Truma combi boiler. The Gassit system should be in, and the floor should be in. Got it. That's a lot, isn't it? But I'm hoping to have it all finished by the end of next week. Today, being total and utter write-off, I've got to pop down into the Mumbles and sort out a restaurant. It's my sister's 60th birthday, so she's now in bus pass territory. That's on Friday, so I'm going to go down and sort the restaurant out tonight, because there's some family and friends arriving for that. Which will be a lovely evening, I'm sure. Then Sunday I have to go pop into it. Although I've got some time off, I have to pop in on Sunday. For not a full day, I'll be doing about 6 hours on Sunday, and then I have to pop in the following Friday. So even though I'm on holidays, there are some instances where I have to still work. Bronnie's going to pop over to Ireland to see her daughter just for a couple of days. So there's lots going on, but we should still be able to get those jobs done. Hoping. Oh, the other thing that needs finishing as well is the water tanks. The water tank now underslung. Need to get back up there and put some. It is bolted in, but I want to put some extra bolts on it. So we've got lock-in bolts and get them sealed off. And then also I need to measure up and order the hose pipes or the piping for that. And hopefully get that installed as well. So the pumps here, the accumulator bottles here, the trimmers here, the water tanks in, so all of that should be starting to be connected now. All right. Like everything else with the gas, I've got a gasset engineer that will check that out, who is specifically trained by Gasset, as it happens. Trimmer heater, that will be checked out by a gas safe engineer who's LPG trained. He actually also happens to be a Trimmer engineer. So whilst I'm doing the work, he will check all of that out for me. So as we're going along, we're having things checked out. I'm not reliant on me thinking it's perfect. I want it to be right. And then obviously there's alarms got to be fitted in that garage area as well, but that can happen at a later stage. So flooring, yeah, that's going in. Did I mention flooring? Yeah, probably going round in circles now. So that's what's happening this week. Let's get on with it. With the panel in, there's a reason why we took it right down to that window down there. Okay. And I'll show you that when we get to the bathroom part. But the brief reason for that is that they're at the end of where the bed will be. There's nowhere to attach the panel in properly, so we've taken it down to the back. And then this, I don't know, 3/4 of it, just over 3/4 of it, that's going to be at the back of the wardrobe. So we'll paint that the same colour as this side. And then, which I don't know why I'm showing you the other side, it hasn't been done either, but they'll be painted both the same colour, and then when you open the wardrobe, at least you'll have a nice backing to it. Just giving a couple of coats to a little bit of the ply tongue and groove, just to see what the colour looks like. Now that's all brush strokes on that, and it's not been sanded at all, but it's had a couple of coats. And obviously on the real stuff it'll be rollered on to give a smoother finish, but we're really pleased with that colour. We think it's going to be nice and bright and breezy. And then the kitchen units and the wardrobes and the toilet area or the shower area are going to be in a very light grey. And so it begins. So I'm going to be fitting the fans, but I've got a chap called Derek who's going to be cutting the holes out, because he's got one of those, whatever one of those is.
Compressor.
That's the one, compressor. And he's going to be using that nibbler tool there. And the reason that we're using that, we think there's going to be a lot less shake than using a jigsaw on it. Apart from that, I'm a bit of a scaredy cat when it comes to cutting holes in my van, which is, I've got to admit it, a bit my pride and joy. So not gonna do it. So the first one's going up there now this morning. Don't know whether if I get in. Can see. Can I get in there? Can see where that blue mark is. Oh, am I too close? Where that blue mark is going down there, and then straight down, straight across, and straight back again. So here goes. Okay, so step one, okay, is just drilling some holes into the roof so that you can get the nibbler in. And I've got to say, this is not a time to fall out with the guy with the machine, because we're not exactly waterproof at the moment. This is the reason why we didn't do it last week. The weather was so awful. At least now we've got a couple of dry days, so I know that the Sikaflex can go off and it's all done and dusted and all sweet.
So the first rule, if you're doing a do-it-yourself van build and you have a hole cut in the roof, the first rule of DIY hole cutting is you have to stick your head through the hole. So the first fan is in. Obviously the cowling is only loosely fitted because the ceiling's got to go in there as well. So that's just tacked up there by a couple of screws at the moment, just to keep it up and out of the way so I don't lose anything. And then the other one is still a hole, so we'll do that next. And then we've got to finish off some of those foam insulation on the top there. And that should be tonight's work, and I think that if Bronnie gets home in time, she's going to do a little bit more of the knotting on there or on here, and also some of the insulation that still needs to be finished off up the top there. So lovely day, lovely and sunny, so cracking on at the moment. And today is Bronnie's birthday, so we're going to go out for breakfast and we're going out for dinner tonight, and we'll be working on the van during the day. But I just thought I'd show you what she had for her birthday, and that's her new seating position for the telly. Just about fits into the lounge. So we're just starting to lay the floor. Decided to do 2 strips at a time, so we'll one after the other. So Bronnie's just gluing the floor now, and we have to leave that go tacky for 10 minutes, which is prompting me to have a cup of coffee and a cup of tea for Bronnie while we're doing that, and then we'll lay the second strip and we'll show you how that goes. So, starting to come together, and obviously we've got to do around the edges. Now, you will see around the edge that we haven't been right to the edge, because it does mean cutting a 1-inch strip and whatever, but in truth that's going to be underneath the kitchen, so we're not too worried about that. And then the grey part then tomorrow, we'll finish off tomorrow. The reason that we're not doing it today is because we've got to wait 24 hours for the glue to dry, and to get there we'd have to stand on the boards that we've already done, and we're not too keen to do all that because we don't want them sliding south. So far for Bronnie's birthday then, she has been to the tip to get rid of some rubbish. We went to Screwfix to buy some screws, and we've laid, I don't know, 2/3 of the floor, half of the floor, and the rest to do tomorrow. So it's Saturday morning and the van's ready to go, so we're going to crack on with that today. But I've been out shopping. I bought a big F-off drill, really. Not necessarily for the van, this actually, but no doubt I'll be using it to do the holes in the bottom of the van for the vents, and also a Titan table saw, which I've got to be honest with you, I'd never come across Titan tools before until I met started doing the van, and I went to Screwfix, and I can't fault them. You know, they're not the most expensive, that's for sure, but they're not cheaply made. Not too sure if you were a professional whether they'd be any good, but certainly for my level of use, they're fantastic tools.
Good morning. It's Sunday morning, back at work tomorrow. Haven't had 2 weeks off, apart from the Friday which I had to work in Cardiff. Bronnie's in Ireland, so that means, although it's a Sunday morning, I'm having a custard slice for breakfast. Don't know if that's a good idea, but you should probably see the video, so I'll get into trouble for that. But hey, what can I say? Yesterday, so let's go back over the last 2 weeks that I've been off. We have achieved quite a bit, considering the first week was hampered by rain. The second week we've had lovely weather, and we did crack on a bit more with that. Friday I had to work. On the Sunday I had to work as well, the last Sunday. But apart from that, I've had nearly 2 weeks off. So yesterday seemed to do a load, but looking back, it doesn't seem like we've got that far. Spent quite a lot of the day putting together a table saw. I bought myself a Titan table saw, which I think I'm showing you earlier in the video, but I bought that. It took ages to put together, absolutely ages. I thought it'd be a 5-minute job. It's not, but it is fantastic. And when we start doing the inside, it's going to be so handy, absolutely so handy. The other thing is it's really big. It's a lot bigger than it looks like on the box. I mean, it comes in a decent sized box, but what happened is it can't fit in the shed, so I'm going to have to buy a little hut thing or something for the garden so that I can put that and some other things in. We did that. We started sorting out the gas box. I've been drilling holes in the gas box and then sealing them back up because it needs to be a gas tight locker. So fitted the strap for securing the bottle, drilled out the hole for the gas dropout vent, fixed the fill point and fixed the regulator, and then fixed a hole or drilled a hole for the regulator so that the gas tube can go into the regulator. And then I've got a rubber grommet that's going in there, so that should be neat. And then I'll fill that. So every time I've drilled a hole, I've actually Sikaflexed it as well. Not the prettiest job, I've got to say, but necessary. You know, we don't want gas coming into the garage area. Although it's going to have an extra dropout vent because LPG being heavier than air should settle at the bottom, should be able to go through the vent. Today, so last day, I'm back at work in the morning, so today I want to achieve a few things. I've got to put the bolts on the water tank underneath. They are bolted, obviously the water tank is bolted up, but I think I've mentioned this before as well. I want to put locking nuts on each bolt, or an extra locking nut on each bolt. So I'll scrabble underneath the van and do that. The fans, as you know, are fitted and they've had some Sikaflex around the edge, so they are watertight, but I wanted that to cure before I put another layer around the edge, which I'm doing in silver to match the van, silver grey, and then I'm just going to tidy up the edges around each of the fans. Then I've got to go for lunch with my dad. It's Sunday and it's my turn to go for lunch with him. So gonna go and do that. I think he's gonna come back. He came down yesterday actually and had a mooch about a bit and swept the yard for us because it was looking like a builder's yard. I think he's going to come down this afternoon if it's not too cold for him. It's actually chilled off, and he suffers with the cold if it gets too cold or damp. So he may or may not come back this afternoon. But this afternoon's job will be to sort out the exhaust for the Truma heater. And originally, I think I'm not too sure if I've mentioned this earlier in the video, because the video's been stretched out over 2 weeks, but originally I was going to put the exhaust through the floor, because the exhaust for the Truma heater was which has an intake in it, was not going to be anywhere near the exhaust for the van. So I thought that would be fine. Luckily for me, before I did all of that, I saw Greg Verger's video on fitting the Truma heater, or part of it, and he mentioned in that it has to be on the sidewall of the van. It can't go into the floor. So I wrote to Greg and asked him if that was, can it go into the floor? No, he didn't mention the floor. He mentioned that it was going into the side van. So I wrote to him and said, look, you know, can this go in the floor? And everybody knows that Greg Verger is very, very knowledgeable about these things. He is an engineer. So so I would trust his advice beyond the majority of people, that's for sure. And he said, no, it's going to go in the side van, it can't go down. And he sent me some data as well. So that's where it's going to go. Like him, what that means is I need to take the side panel off, which is easy enough. It's only undo a few screws. Take that off, take out some of the insulation, put the exhaust through the sidewall and get that fixed, and then put the board back. And then that will be done, which will mean that we can then finish on the floor. So the floor is 3/4 done at the moment. Didn't finish it off. There were two reasons for that. One, I wanted the first half to dry, because if we were standing on it, it was going to slide with the glue. Although the glue was tacky when we put it down, there is some slight movement in glue, as we all know. So I've left that to settle over the last few days. Then we'll finish that last part off. Now whether that's today, can't really say on that one, but it's looking great at the moment, I think, and really, really pleased with it. So once that board is done, we can finish off that one side, knowing that we can stand on the other side quite safely. So that's today's job. So cup of coffee, custard slice, let's see how we get on.
So feeling that we didn't get much done yesterday, even though we were working all day, it didn't seem that we got much done anyway. Today, much more successful in my eyes. Glad to see this little baby's fitted now. So that's the exhaust for the Truma heater. I'll just come around the back, and that's where the exhaust is now coming in, and that's fitted all back. Started up on some of the bed slats are starting to go in, and what else has happened today? Oh, I did do the nuts on the water tank, so that's really secure now. That isn't going anywhere, I know that for a fact. In fact, I think I'd have a bit of a job getting it out if I needed to. You can just see the Truma heater at the back. That's not fixed, of course. That's just there because I wanted to measure where the exhaust was going earlier, so I brought it into the van. We'll take that out this evening. What else happened? Oh yeah, I did the Sikaflex on the roof fans, and something I'm not too sure of actually. Oh, let me just get, can I reach in there? Yeah, this is going to be the trim on the back door, but I'm not too sure of the colour. It's a bit too orange for my liking, so that's going to be done again. That was done in walnut varnish in a satin finish, so not happy with that at all, to be honest with you. So that's going to be redone, and that's about it. So that's the end of the weekend. I'm going to start sorting out the video now actually, and then get that finished and hopefully up tonight. In the meantime, I've got to go back to work now for one of my 5 days on. I'm off next weekend, so I've got another weekend off next weekend, so that's fantastic news. Let's hope the weather holds out. In the meantime, remember to play nicely, share all your toys, and have a fantastic week.